Hey, this is Evan with 30 Productions. I'm here at Minibar, and I'm sitting down with i9incher, or
Yeah.
Justin.
Mhm.
And Justin, you're coming up playing here at Minibar on what date?
December 11th.
December 11th. So definitely go check that out. We're gonna kind of sit down and get to know the guy. So how did you kind of get into making that music? Is there something that like you really enjoyed, and you're like, you know what, I think this is something that I could really add to and like create for myself?
Kind of fell into it. So I was really into the punk scene growing up. I was in two punk bands previously before going into this. In high school, we had the 21st Century program. I also got into video editing. And then I was messing around a lot with some of the music paint stuff they had on there. I think GarageBand, obviously. I think we're allowed to group on that one.
Classic.
And I actually ended up doing all the music for a fashion show for the high school at the time. So it was pretty cool. It came out, did some editing there. And then just over time, just sort of grew into it and allowed me to do a lot of things that was kind of harder to do in a band. So I liked having sort of full control over the aspect I can make and really experiment with stuff. Then just started posting stuff online, started on Newgrounds and YouTube, and just kind of picked up
Ground's
from
another
there.
Classic.
Yeah, definitely an old school Newgrounds set. Then here I am now.
Yeah. When you talk about some of those things that like you couldn't do in the context of a band that you can do now, are you talking about strictly as a solo artist, or do you also mean like just within the genre that you're playing now too?
A little bit of both, especially in electronica, is it definitely isn't as restrictive. There's a lot of electronica artists that bring in traditional like guitars, and in my work, I even bring in a lot of traditional like drum kits into that aspect. I'm very influenced by the hardcore punk scene and metal and things like Prodigy. But a lot of times, one, you are definitely collabing with other people all the time in a band, which can be great if you have a good flow, but also it kind of can restrict you of, oh, let's make a song in a completely different genre, and you have to get a consensus from everybody. And also the buildup you have with other people that might not necessarily go over well. To where like in an electronica sense, if you want to collab, you can work with other people, but then you can go back to your own stuff if you want to. And if you want to branch out and do a one-off or two, I feel like people are a lot more open-minded to it.
So when you're making music with a band, obviously everybody's got to kind of work together to be able to come up with a sound, figure out kind of what flows. What does that process look like for you now that you're doing this as a solo artist? I mean, do you kind of start with like say like a drum line or something and you build it from there? Like how do you get a song going from the ground up?
It's actually almost identical. So at least in a lot of time, especially when you're in the more stripped down genres, usually a lot of time you'll start with like a bass line or like a rhythm line. And for my electronica scene, I start with sort of a rhythm starting with the bass, or I'll start with the synth pads of kind of what do I want the core of a track to be, kind of chord progression. You expand that into about 8 measures. Then, okay, I have my bass here. Now let's cut it up and see if we can make an interesting lead here. All right, great. And now I'm at the point to where it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm planning out ahead of time. I kind of start and just a track just like emerges from kind of what I've been working on. I just found that really interesting for the last 3 or 4 years. But the starting point is pretty much identical.
The lines, at least, for what some of these tracks sound like, look like when you have them just on whatever.
A lot of MIDI, a lot of WAV files.
Yeah, it's just like there's layer on layer on layer, and then it's just like you have to line it up completely. Yeah, it looks insane. It almost looks like a really crazy math equation.
Mine looks like that, but that's because I'm unorganized.
Yeah. Can you tell me about like any collabs you've done around the city? I know that I saw, I think it was
Probably Albert.
I was like Midnight Shibuya.
Yes, so Midnight in Shibuya.
Midnight in Shibuya.
So
Shibuya.
that was a collab with a local guy, Albert, who's very talented.
Yeah.
Fantastic jazz player, lives here, originally from Italy.
Okay.
Just talked to him recently. We might have some other stuff in the works that we're working on. Can't plug it yet, but it's coming soon. We have a couple of those in there. And that was with Kinda Rad, who he's out of LA.
Okay.
So how that came together is I saw Albert at a show at UL, if you know where it is, where he was playing a live jazz trumpet set over another guy who was doing 90s R&B on the decks, and then he was just freestyling jazz trumpet over it. And I was so impressed. I was like, man, I'd love to work like that, but I have nothing to throw his way. And this collab came up with Kinda Rad because I noticed we were both mutuals on Spotify to where say, oh, your fans also listen to this. And I just reached out, DM'd them, say, hey, noticed we were mutuals on this. Do you want to work on something? Yes. He gave me an awesome track where, oh, I think I want to bring in a trumpet guy here. Reached out to Albert, he said yes. And now that song is probably my second most popular song now. I think it's sitting at like 230,000 streams just on Spotify. And very happy it came. I worked for a really long time on the breaks for that. And then Kinda Rad is a master mix artist. He's worked with, I can't say who he's worked with, but he's some pretty like probably A-listers out of LA for mixing.
Oh, wow.
So he really knows his stuff.
So what have kind of the chapters in your musical journey looked like so far? You know, you touched a little bit on how you just started making like, you know, you did the music for your high school like fashion show. You've got to do some other things. Where in the past couple of years that you've been making music, like how has that journey kind of looked for you? What has progressed from the beginning to where you're at now?
So when I really started to get traction, I was making dark techno and industrial music. And then once again with Newgrounds, I got picked up on this series called Madness, which is it's a very violent, gun heavy, like side scrolling sort of series. If you saw the little guys, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. But I got put in a lot of those animations because it just fit really, really well aesthetically. And then I kind of had another song called Psychosis, which was kind of half that style and kind of half my modern style now. That got picked up and put into the Henry Stickmin series, which is the same guy who made Among Us. So he put me in that one. And then I really, really got into sample-based sort of production because I used to listen to Liquid Buzz on 96.5 years ago with Vaughn, and he played a lot of that stuff. And so it kind of rejuvenated me to get into that. And then I think Zoom Noir, which was my biggest song of all time, I think that was like the third song ever that I've ever made with drum breaks at all. And then that just exploded because it fit that genre so well. And I've just kind of been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, it sounds like you really kind of came into a good little like pocket of the culture there.
I think it just kind of like lined up to where I just happened to be making stuff that was kind of getting picked up, but I hit the tail end when I was originally doing the industrial techno stuff. It's probably like 5 years behind. And then I just happened to come in at the time when a lot of breakcore and jungle was getting picked up again. So
gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like you're spitting into a really cool pocket there. Is that something that like you think that there's like a big space for that in Kansas City as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Surprisingly, especially because we're a big jazz scene, I'm surprised especially the breakcore guys, we might have a bigger people, which is also kind of why I'm looking forward to the show, is kind of bringing a little bit of that into it, just to kind of give a taste to a lot of people. Yeah. And just say, let's put a lot of chops in here and just play it for a while and see how people vibe with it. But Damage, who I'm bringing on, phenomenal. He got signed to Dream Station, which is a huge breakcore label. He has a lot of good songs. We make a similar genre. I like his sound very much. I think he does a better job than I do, honestly, in that sector. So I'm happy to bring him on. Dewey, who I'm bringing on, they've put me on to stuff I wasn't even aware of in that show. So I'm happy to bring them on. And then other big local guys, we have Deaton Anthony. So he was out of Olathe. He's in LA now. Okay. I think he's sitting at like 100K monthly listeners. He's done
what a wild change in scenery there.
Yeah. Well, he's done stuff for like movies and a bunch of other stars now. Okay. And then probably the biggest guy here is Boy 2000, which I thought he was out of Chicago, but I guess he's local. We've talked a couple of times, and he's moving up. I'm trying to catch up to him, but he keeps jumping way ahead of me all the time. And it's like, I don't know if I'll ever catch up to him. But he's
keeps you competitive though, right? Keeps you inspired, you know?
And he's like, cool dude. But he's probably one of the biggest guys of the scene, actually. So we have a really, really talented local pool here. So really excited to highlight some of that.
I love when I hear stories about, musical genres that I'm not particularly privy to. When I hear that there is such like a root for it and there is such a base for artists in Kansas City for maybe like a genre like what you're in, finding out that there's like an awesome music scene for that is just something that I love exploring so much, and being able to learn more about it, know that there are other artists here, people are doing like national work, and seeing like artists like yourself come out of Kansas City like that, where you've done a lot of work with other stuff. Like, I just think that's awesome. So do you think that like that's a really like Kansas City being on the map in that general?
I think Kansas City is on the map for electronica just in general. Probably electronica and hip hop are like the two main driving forces here a lot of the time. Yeah. We'll get some alternative acts that come in, but just the consistent scene of we have very good artists in general, or those are the two main genres. and then obviously jazz because we're rooted in jazz.
Of course.
And I'm actually surprised that people still find out I'm from Kansas City, because I put on everything that I run, like the Kansas City EDM Spotify playlist, and I talk about it all the time. And I'll get comments like, "Oh, I didn't know you were from here." It's like, what are you talking about? So I was even I might pull like a Tech 9 where I just like, let me just like release a song like Red Kingdom or something where I talk about it, and then maybe people will know that I'm from.
So where would you see yourself down the road now? We talked a little bit about where you came from, what you've been up to now. Where do you see, like, or do you have any hopes, dreams? Do you have any places particularly that you would want to play at? Where do you see yourself like going down the road?
Yeah, definitely. Other than here, there's some cities to where it's like, oh, I do pretty well in there. So Chicago's a big one. London would be ultimate. I know Winslow has a lot of connection out there. He's technically in St. Louis, but I think he lived here for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I would love to do a show with him out there. LA, obviously, because I have a few friends out there now. And then kind of my next thing is just keep releasing music. I have an EP coming out hopefully in December with a lot of good collaborators on that are really heavy in the scene. And I'm hoping next year it'll turn into hitting up a couple cities in the spots. But we'll just see if I can work out like a small tour or something. I think it would be really fun.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome, man. So go ahead and plug that EP if you'd like to. Where can people find you at too?
So Spotify, I'm everywhere. Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. Instagram is my name, so Justin_in_Franklin. Just because when you're applying for jobs, you can't have like a dick joke. It's like your handle. So, which it is what it is. I couldn't change it. I got too much traction. But main thing, trying to go off of Spotify or any music platform you stream on. Tidal, Apple Music, all that stuff. And then playing with some good people on that one. It's definitely super happy about it. Probably one of the best things I've done in a while. So looking forward to that, definitely.
Sweet, man. Can't wait. We got i9incher coming to Minibar on December 11th. Tell a friend, come check it out. Yeah. Thanks you so much for sitting down, man. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been fun.
Come check the show out. We'll see you guys there.
Definitely.